All right, welcome, Podracing fans, to the losers finals of the upper bracket of our 2023 Galactic Podracing tournament. Today's match is Metallica5167 versus Goofbrush. I'm joined today by Droopy on the comms. Hello, Droopy.
Hello, Lightning Pirate. Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Galactic Podracing tournament. It's the upper losers finals, I guess.
Yes. And for our race one, the runners have decided to take us to none other than Spice Mine Run, the second in the lineup of Mongaza tracks, and a pretty straightforward one.
Yeah, line's very important here. Both players gonna have to be very, very close to the walls in order to reduce the time they take to complete the track. So goes for all the, so to speak, easy tracks.
Yeah, this is not the most difficult course, but there is a pretty annoying obstacle here in the ore loader that's making trips up and down from the mines.
That we just could see as Goof passed it, entering
and then
the mine.
You've also got, there's a dozer, like a third into the lap, I think. And that's one thing you'll actually see the runners possibly delay their cutscene. When you skip the cutscene, you're actually skipping a lot of animation that happens underneath. That kind of offsets the cycle of that dozer animation to get it out of the way, lap 3.
It's another occurrence of dozer awareness in some way. There's another technique that Goofbrush is using right now.
That's right. Goof actually thought that the term dozer awareness was in reference to this track, but I think maybe most think of it's like a challenge.
Yeah, that one. Will it be a part of today's race? Will we have to take our dozer awareness stickers out in the Discord? I don't know. Maybe another bingo.
All right. So I'm going to go ahead and give our runners the go ahead here. And at their leisure, they will start this epic rematch. These guys have actually faced off before in this bracket. It was the upper winners semis where they faced before, and that was a best of 9 that saw a race 9 to decide it. Metallica actually got the first race on that match, and every race after that was won on its pick. That is to say that the player who decided the conditions and the track won the race until the final race, where it was Baru Coast, and Metallica tried to bait Goofbrush into a Mars Guo pick, but Goofbrush clenched it out to take the victory. It came down to the wire, and I'm expecting the same quality for this match here.
Yeah, it's going to be a very, very interesting match.
But it looks like we are off into race 1 on Spice Mine Run.
We're off. Both players taking a great start.
Shoutouts to Balmas for helping us behind the scenes.
Yeah.
Full sync and everything. But I expect when it comes to Ben, sort of the meta IL picks, it's really a toss-up between these two runners. There's super high level, really high quality runners. But in that last match, we saw a really nice amount of variety when it came to like off meta picks and really playing to not just each runner's strength, but also the strength of the rule set.
which makes the match really interesting.
Yeah, really fun to watch these two. Metallica, I've been following a lot this year. He's had so much momentum, um, just in terms of where he's always been at in previous years, and I think this year, I mean, we're at the top 3 right now, and this is basically a fight for second place in the championship to face, or even a shot at first place to face Mikey Berger in the winners finals.
Mikey Berger, who won his match against Goofbrush, reminds me of a comment that I don't remember who said this during their SMR run during their match, but they said that SMR was somehow Mike remembers.
So it looks like into lap 2, we're about halfway through the race here. Goofbrush has just maybe the slightest of leads here. It's still incredibly close.
Very, very slight. Say 114 lap, 113 for.
Yeah, he actually had a
Metallica.
slower lap 2, but overall, I think it could be a difference of heat right there. But it looked like through those mines, he was taking it much more tightly.
Yeah, Goofbrush is kind of a more aggressive player, which can be for the best, gaining a few tenths here and there, but can also be for the worse, because if you're too aggressive, you can crash. Metallica, on the other hand, has a reputation to be quite consistent.
Yeah, incredible
So
consistency.
Goofbrush cannot count on him crashing in case it goes bad for him.
Looks like Metallica had an earlier entry into these corkscrew tunnels.
Yeah.
But
Those
it all
players-
evens out on the exit.
Pretty much neck and neck.
Here's the market to determine. Oh man, it's still.
Yeah, it's very close.
Holy crap, it's Goofbrush
And it's Goofbrush.
on race 1.
341.457. Metallica, on the other hand, has a 341 but 0.720.
There you go. First race and a third of a second difference to decide it. A beautiful indicator for what's to come.
I think they are going to trade victories. It could be a 13 race match.
I'd love to see it go all the way to 13.
My God, yes.
Yeah, there's our calculation. 0.263 second difference. Incredible. All right, our permabands are flowing in. Metallica with the obvious choice of Executioner. That's one he permabanned in their last match. Goofbrush responding with the Bunta Classic. Metallica then chooses Sebulba's Legacy, and Goofbrush rounds it out with Grabvine Gateway. So those are the 4 tracks we will not be seeing for the remainder of the match.
And Goofbrush doesn't seem happy that Sebulba's Legacy got banned. Says boo.
Yeah, I think he would have counted on the Executioner ban, but I'm not sure about Sebulba's Legacy. Last match, it was Doug Derby was Metallica's permaban. So yeah, kind of switching it up there. And same with Goofbrush on the Bunta Classic. That was sort of a soft third permaban for him last match, but now he's committed to it. And it looks like Metallica is taking us off Ben right away. Goofbrush taking out Vengeance. That was a previous permaban for him in the winter semis.
And we are going for Zaga Challenge. Guys, those are awareness tickets. You can go for it.
Don't even need to be aware. We're skipping that monstrosity.
So it's gonna contain skips, and we are off meta.
That's right. So if anyone missed it, Metallica versus King Bean Dip, which I believe was the losers quarters. Metallica pulled off triplex Zaga skips. No sweat. It was the most bonkers thing to witness.
Yeah, it's pretty hard to get the 3 skips all together on that track. Very tricky stuff.
Tournament viability, I would say maybe you just go for one. You at least go for the third one. And then between the first two, you commit to either one or the other. But Metallica swiftly pulled off 9 out of 9 of those skip maneuvers on this course. And it was just insane to witness. But now, the main difference here is that skip was on bent. But in this race, no bent. We're on bowls now. So it kind of really throws a wrench in like how the skip is meant to be pulled off. I'm sure Goofbrush was expecting a Ben Zaga skips, but now this is like, I don't know.
Way different.
It's way different, yeah.
Funny coincidence is they're going for the track favorite here, which is Bowls Rule.
You see that first skip on Metallica? Not going for second. In the warm-ups, at least. Let's see if Goofbrush. He falls short.
Oh, yeah. I hope he can pull it off during the actual race. Still in warm-ups so far. Countdown has not started yet. Both racers in their 2 minutes warm-up.
Actually, 3 minutes for skips.
Oh, yeah. I forget about that.
Yeah, you get 1 extra minute to reconsider all your life choices on this skips pick. But it looks like, I don't know, Goofbrush is going to have a second chance here to try out this initial... Yeah, it looks like he's falling short. I don't know if it's because Metallica is actually boosting into that skip or if it could be a frame rate thing because he's losing air very fast.
Yeah, maybe he didn't set up the frame rate to the right amount. And this could change the course of the rest of the track. As usually here we are using like 24 FPS, which is pretty much not viable for skips. It's rather like 60 FPS to ensure maximum traction. Oh, nicely done by Goofbrush.
Yeah, you see he actually boosted into that skip, which is pretty risky because you really have to line things up to pull this off. But he managed to get over that section of out of bounds. And
I think the countdown has started.
Off we go into race 2 on Zaga skips.
And they're off.
I don't think I saw Metallica attempt that second skip, which I think is a very wise choice for Bulls.
Yeah, Bulls is definitely not as agile as Ben could be.
Yeah, he's a lot loose. Yeah.
Some refer to Bulls as a slightly greasier Ben. He's a bit slower.
There's the first skip. Goofbrush actually pulls off first and the second. Holy cow!
The
That's gonna give him some
second
lead here.
one.
Wow!
Wow, he took the lead.
Holy cow! He
That
just
was a
committed to it.
yeah. That was incredible. But please, Goof, be careful.
Oh, he doesn't quite get the. Oh, actually that's gonna hurt him
The
here.
third one, yeah.
Not as bad though. Metallica makes the climb. Yeah, we'll see how it evens out. It might just even out here. And it does. Look at that.
Yeah. Look at that's incredible. The third skip is really a huge, huge gain in terms of time.
Yeah, it's a bit. It can slow you down on at least the turnaround that has to happen at the end of that Montgaza Speedway section. But let's see how lap 2 Gips goes. Goofbrush just flips
my
on his
God.
way back in. I don't think Metallica got that second skip, so that's why he's
No,
still
he
in the
didn't.
screw. But this
He's
is
still
yet
behind.
again.
Not very far away though.
Yeah, we're gonna see Goofbrush in the lead here, but he did have trouble on this dozer skip at the end of the lap. Yeah, I think it could. Oh,
the
he does.
stream froze for me.
He gets
The
through,
stream froze for me.
and he maintains his lead into lap 3.
Okay, I've got the stream back. Still slight advantage for Goofbrush here. But Metallica isn't very far away.
Yeah, it's all going to come
Everything
down
can still play out.
to this lap 3 skip. This gauntlet of skips. Goofbrush,
Yeah.
just a baby boost,
Come on,
barely
Goof.
clears it.
Whoa!
Metallica, it looks like,
He
yet
got
again did not get that skip. So this is going to be a massive lead for Goofbrush
So
into
far,
the back
yes.
half
Metallica
of lap 3.
is trying to play safer here. Maybe he's not as confident with both. And it's understandable.
Here it is, the last skip. Bull's just barely able to
Goofbrush
climb up.
succeeding. And it's Goofbrush for that one too. With a
Oh, man.
404.430 and a 412.847 for Metallica. Nice time though.
Already, though, we're seeing a difference of 2 points between the runners, which we did not see in the last match. It was not a difference that we actually never saw a difference in points greater than 1. That's wild.
Maybe Goofbrush today is at his best, and he's really trying to get his opportunity to go to the grand finals.
He wants that rematch with Mikey Burger.
I had the privilege to be a commentator for that match between him. A great match, but him and Mikey, who was very unlucky on that one. Maybe quite a bit of pressure on his shoulders.
We are getting our temp bans in for race 3. Metallica once again temp banning Ben Quadneros. Goofbrush with the Vengeance temp ban. Metallica taking us to Endoprime Centrum with skips. this is yet another repeat pick from their winner semis match. But yet again, mixing it up with the no Ben. I believe it was Ben on. Yeah, it was indeed Ben last time. And Metallica just barely took this one. Goof, you'll see, taking the left strat, whereas Metallica last time he was using the right side. Though we saw how Goofbrush's left side strategies did somewhat fall apart into lap 3. Kind of betrayed him. Because it is a little riskier. Well, actually, I can't really speak to that. I haven't really touched Enderprime Centrum skips ever, but we'll see how things even out here. Yeah, Draco mentioning that King Bean Dip is very fond of this pick. This exactly bowls on Enderprime Centrum skips, and you can see, yeah, Goofbrush clipping into that out of bounds as you fly over that sort of switchback.
Yeah, APC is definitely a tricky track. Not too hard, but it contains a lot of tricky spots. Yeah, you can see that skip is quite acrobatic. And the bridge jump for Metallica. Then going through the city with that boost hold. Perfect. Max heat. Still a warm-ups though, I guess.
I believe last match, Metallica was never really able to maximize the skip as far as the potential of what you're skipping, but he didn't die, which was the important part. As long as you don't die, you have a solid chance here. But this is certainly a high difficulty skip, especially with bowls. Though I'm not sure if bowls makes it easier than Ben. That it would explain why King Bean Dip seems so fond of it, and now even Metallica.
It could be the case, yeah. With different stats comes a different behavior for the Podracer. So maybe bowls can be a little more of an advantage here.
Alrighty, off into race 3 on Enderprime Centrum. Gibbs and Goofbrush with an incredibly early
shoot!
death. Oh no.
Unlucky shot from the get-go. That first turn.
Alright, let's see how the skip goes for Metallica. He sails through unscathed. Ooh. Goofbrush is also going to make it. Ooh.
Yeah. Whew.
But that is such an unfortunate death to start out the race on.
Yeah, it was very, very, very unlucky. Can see Goof maximizing his heat, trying to go as fast as he can.
Yeah, that's a lot of time.
56-second lap, I guess, for him.
With such an early death, though, that's at least you're able to. Metallica with a very clean lap 2 skip. Goofbrush is gonna not quite make it. Oh.
Another unfortunate moment for Goofbrush.
He just barely fell short of landing. He got a little greedy there, I'll say. He could have landed safely before that, but he knew he needed with that death. I mean, I guess greedy isn't the right word. It's like he knew the risk he had to take.
Yeah. Thought it would be worth it, but and here they are on lap 3.
though greed can
Huge
be a
hit for
powerful ally.
Metallica.
Metallica takes a clean 3 out of 3 skips, looking very nice. Goofbrush,
Ouch.
another spot of trouble, but Metallica showing why he took Goof here to a Bowls APC skips pick.
And I guess the race is pretty much over now. But if Metallica decides to wait at the starting line, which won't be the case, because he finishes the race in 2:32.279, and Goofbrush finishing in 2:43.968.
I don't think we've ever seen someone literally sit at the finish line. I think that with the nature of this being a blind run where the racers can't see the position of their opponent, you don't know their progress. It'd be incredibly bold and risky to do that, but
And it's an additional source of tension for both players, not knowing where their opponent is compared to them.
Metallica in chat saying, "Why in the world would you ever prepare for that Zaga's challenge pick?"
I'm still stuck on that.
Yeah, Metallica thought he'd have that Zaga skips, but Goofbrush just made it look so. I mean, to be fair, Metallica did have a lot of trouble laps 2 and 3 with that middle skip.
Yeah, maybe Metallica isn't used to bulls for that skip.
Well, that was their pick. They prepared that. They thought they would catch Goofbrush off guard, but they did not.
Yeah. And Goofbrush banned Morse Grow, Metallica banned the track Dirt Derby, and Goofbrush selected Bumpy's Breakers. No force points used here.
Just a
It's
straight
gonna
up.
be a full track.
Yeah, full track Ben on Bumpy's Breakers, which happens to be the random challenge of the day. So if you hop over to Botto's Junkyard, and actually these runners could submit these times
Yeah.
for that challenge. But yeah, if you join the Discord and hop over to Botto's Junkyard, you too can be a Ben on Bumpy's Breakers runner.
And you as well can be in individual levels speedruns.
Wow, Goofbrush tearing it up already. You see just how some mad lad piloting. He's got
Yeah.
look at how sharp these lines are.
Yeah. The wolves are afraid of him. Nice boost hold.
Look at that shortcut. Oh my god.
Yeah, flawless. It's not that hard when you get used to it, but it's still a tricky one. Let's just admit it. It's not the easiest part of that track. The hairpin, you could see earlier on as well.
Yeah, taking a little bonk there in the arena just because of how sharp he's taking these lines, but this is definitely going to come down to the riskier versus the safe. I don't expect Metallica to crash, though. I think I'm remembering they went to Sunken City on their last match, and I think that did result in at least a death.
And maybe the race is gonna start soon.
I think this might be our start.
Yeah. Both players are off.
We're off into race 4. Bumpy's Breakers full.
Oh, and Goofbrush is freezing.
That
no,
was
it
our
was the
sync delay.
Thanks, Balmas.
Oh, Metallica with... Oh, no.
Whoa! That was unexpected.
Yeah, we
Very
see the
unfortunate.
little the rear view camera spam to indicate he is not happy with that early death.
Yeah.
Yeah, so what I was talking about before was they had gone to Sunken City and both had exactly one death between them. So we could see a similar. Oh,
Ouch. Yeah. Maybe it's gonna even out a little bit on that one.
yeah, I don't know. I
Goofbrush
think
still
Goof,
has the lead.
yeah, maintains his lead with that. It was a better death there. Metallica,
A
yeah, I
bit
don't think.
safer for the shorter cut. Entering the hairpin. Perfect for both players. Metallica not very far behind. Goofbrush entering the arena. Yeah, that lap one.
Oh. You see how he likes to take that apex of the arena just a little too sharply, and that results in a bonk.
Yeah,
Um, but he
he really
still
wants.
maintains a lead into lap two.
Let's say Metallica really crashed badly on that first lap.
Yeah, it was really it was a much worse death than Goof's.
And you can see how the track is made here. It's not surprising it takes a little bit more time to recover from this. You don't have the opportunity to get back to your max speed that quick here.
Yeah, a lot of bonking from Goof. Because Metallica is staying clear of those walls. It looked like that first death was actually one of those stupid, hairpin deaths where you're sliding so much that your cockpit comes in contact with the wall, and that somehow
Yeah,
triggers a death, which is really just a really annoying way to die
yeah,
anytime.
can get you really salty. I've been there in individual levels. Happened to me quite a few times, and I can tell you it's enraging. It's
Leaf,
infuriating.
Leaf with the perfect term for that, what I just described.
Yeah. And it's making you go nuts, especially if you're on lap 3 and grinding the track for already quite some time, you know? You
Yeah.
spent already half an hour trying to get the best lines, etc., crashing a few times because you're a bit too greedy, and then the cockpit makes you crash. Wow. Great.
Looks like
Goofbrush.
Goofbrush still has a healthy lead into the back half of lap three.
Yeah, he's maintaining it. His aggressive driving granting him the possibility of saving a few tenths here and there.
He's not dying after that one death. So yeah, I think both these guys are going to be. Yeah, that's a clean shortcut.
Yeah,
Metallica as well.
both players keeping calm, surgical precision, both of them.
Ooh.
Will Goofbrush bonk again on that apex? Very close to it. Not this time. And he wins the race in 433.022. And it's gonna be a 440.108 for Metallica. It's a third win for Goofbrush.
Yeah, it takes things to 3-1. Goof still up by 2, which is a tricky spot for Metallica to be in. He's got to break serve and then win again to even
Yeah,
tie things up.
has to score 2 wins against Goofbrush. Yeah.
Let me Google translate this.
What track is gonna be the equalizer?
Metallica. He got me. What's the translation?
Yeah. It was a 108, I guess. Yeah, that's what we said for Metallica.
Okay. Race 5 band phase, Metallica's got to hit Goofbrush with a truly unexpected pick here. So what does he have to throw
Ben
at
is
Goof?
banned.
Inferno,
Goofbrush, then
is it
banned.
Inferno skips time, do you think?
Yeah, it could be. Goofbrush, then banned Vengeance. And I can see Goofbrush said, just not getting the off-throttle input off and full force face planting into a wall. Metallica answering, please keep doing that. And Goofbrush ironically saying, oh, I will. I hope he won't. I hope both players are gonna give the best of themselves tonight. They deserve a chance.
Actually, that is the fate of Rats Tyrell, the jammed accelerator.
Yeah.
But it looks like.
And then.
Looks like our pick from Metallica is Fire Mountain Rally with Ben Band, Bullseye Band, and Neva Key Band.
Oh my god. What's it gonna be?
So in their last match, they actually went to Fire Mountain Rally with Neva Key because it was just a Bullseye band, and actually a Mahonic band. But I wonder. Oh yeah, so it looks like Mahonic is actually the next best pod here.
Yeah, sounds like it. As we can see, Hellfire scored a time of 5:26.372, and it's time with the best available pod. Metallica's record may be an old one because it's a 5:47.900. All I know is Hellfire is really good on that track. If you saw his match against, maybe it was against Nacho Bredo, I guess, if I'm not mistaken.
That you are mistaken. They're in separate brackets, but it was probably either Ace or Metallica.
Yeah, maybe, yes, it was against Metallica. And they went on FMR. Metallica took Neva Key, and Hellfire took, making us very, very afraid of what's gonna happen. He took ban, and he got his redemption.
Okay, here we go. We're seeing an asymmetric pod choice. It looks like Metallica is baiting Goof into the Mahonic pick while he himself is taking Mars. Whoa. Which was the pick that Goofbrush took in their Baru Coast final of their last match. So a little bit of poetry here. It's sort of, they rhyme.
Yeah. Which may be an usual thing in Star Wars in general. This is why rappers often reference Star Wars in their tunes,
But yeah, Metallica prepping Mars for this after Goof clenched out the Mars victory. So let's see if Mars can give Metallica the same amount of luck for this FMR pick.
And as you can see, Goof took Mahonic, which is maybe a little faster pod, I guess, but Metallica has the larger one, which means it's gonna be tricky to slide in between these walls. And I think both players are off.
Yeah, on paper, Mahonic does beat out Mars in terms of average speed. But his his turning is not
not as good.
When it comes to max turn rate, actually they're actually tied in terms of turning.
Oh, okay. Maybe it comes down to traction, I guess. I guess Mahonic has got a bit less traction. As I can remember, and no upgrades, he's a bit janky to drive. Ouch!
Ooh, that's a death from
Crash
Goof.
for goofbrush. Metallica taking the lead. It's not gonna be an easy task for him, though.
Oh,
Another one. Here's thoughts. The unfortunate moments. Goofbrush.
Yeah, already lap 1, 2 deaths down from Metallica's clean Marsguo Racing.
Still in the volcano, though Metallica is already in Cheeseland. Very hard section to drive into. And we can see Goofbrush already adapting.
Yeah, it looked like a clean Cheeseland for Goof with the Mahonic, and Metallica's going to clean out an entirely clean lap 1 with a 148.
So that's mean quite a huge lead for him.
Yeah, it's going to
completing first lap in 2:01.63. A little bit behind.
A 13-second lead for Metallica out of lap 1. That's insane with the 2 deaths that Goofbrush suffered.
Yeah, this is huge. And I hope Goofbrush will stay on track for the... Oh my...
You were saying?
Commentator's curse. You can tick the box in the bingo cards.
Yeah, it looked like a similar... Was that a similar area, or... actually... Oh, no!
That's very, very, very unfortunate.
Yeah, I think Goof just has to know that this one is sort of in the bag for Metallica.
Yeah. I'm beginning to think I'm cursing Goof right now. I should just not say things about him crashing or not.
Oh, that was a rough shortcut there from Metallica, but no deaths, and Goofbrush with the DNF.
Oh, yeah, it's the DNF for Goofbrush.
He'd rather not suffer Mahonic on FMR any longer.
Yeah, I get it. It's totally understandable. Very, very hard to do that track with Mahonic. The best option so far for that track, the meta, is Bullseye Navia, but the pod was banned. And the second pod that's got enough agility to get inside these very, very sharp turns and hairpins is Neva Key, who was banned too. So that's why we got here in the first place.
Yeah, I would say DNFs are more of a trend this year. I know, was it Goofbrush who actually completed a race but still submitted it as a DNF? Like, I don't know if that was just to save his stats, or if it was just sort of a token. It was more of a gesture of like admitting like, hey, I didn't race my best here, so I might as well count it as a DNF.
Yeah, conceding a victory to his opponent.
You've taken this time to warm up on a Bunta training course.
Yeah. So maybe we're gonna get to see that track playing next. Goofbrush has this tendency to spoil us what the next track is gonna be when he loses, as the loser of the previous race can select the next track.
You know, if FMR ever treats you so poorly, and their Metallica finishes out with the 520 every lap clean.
Yeah, very, very clean driving, especially with Mars. Mars is agile, but as I said, he's large, so the walls are getting closer to you quicker than you think.
Yeah, if you
So you
ever
gotta be.
are mistreated by FMR and its evil chicanes and corners, you can always go back to Boonta Training Course for, it's in the name, honestly. You can go back for
Yeah,
training.
yeah. It's a maybe much easier race. I guess so. Just by the name. I don't know it so far, so just kidding. I should go back on it these days. I want to improve my time on it, but you see, the rock that was on the right side of Goofbrush, I always take it in the face at some point during my runs, and that's infuriating too. This game has a tendency to, depending on your mood, sometimes really get on your nerves. You gotta remain very, very calm playing it.
All right, we are into our temp bands for race 6. Goofbrush leading us out with a Rats Tyrell temp band.
And Metallica 10 Benning Dirt Derby, and with no surprise, Goofbrush selecting the Boonta training course.
Yeah, so he's actually getting his warm-ups in. That's actually a 200 IQ play to just literally DNF on your opponent's pick and immediately go into warm-ups for the next
Yeah,
race.
strategic choices here. And it's allowed. So, Goof is right to make use of that strategy.
Both these guys have really strong times here. Goof with a 135 tourney record on this track, though.
So that means in tournaments, so far, Goofbrush was the fastest. Metallica scoring a 137.337 on that track. Maybe it's an all time.
And yeah, I assume we'll be seeing the Hayudoro method out of both these guys, which is where you see the sort of the maximizing airtime strategy.
Yeah, what some people call the jump strats, compared to what Mikey Berger did in his last match against Goofbrush, which is called the OG strat, staying onto the ground, not taking that jump, just following the track. And both strategies can lead to almost equal times.
Yeah, I think Yam mentioning how Goof lost a boost there to determine the result of that matchup.
Yeah, and I guess, yeah, the OG strat won. And just like Food says, and they're off.
Yeah, off into race 6 on the Boonta training course. This would be a good chance for Metallica to potentially break serve. But this is Goofbrush's pick, and he has already had more time to warm up thanks to his DNF. Oh, no!
Oh, that's very bad for Metallica. Taking a crash on
Yeah,
that
so
rock I talked
that
about earlier.
that hitbox on that rock extends straight up. It does not.
Yeah,
The hitbox does not conform to the actual visual mesh. It is possibly one of the biggest sins in this game, next to Abyss. How people say the collision is very shoddy there.
yeah. This reminds me of some rocks on Inferno as well, who look
Yes.
to be a little more to the right than their collision really is. So you get to crash into nothingness. Now you
Goof.
get why I find it infuriating, you know? You don't see where you're crashing.
Goof with a really strong back half of lap 3 here. And
Yeah,
he's going to
very aggressive.
clear everything. He looked pretty well on maximizing those. There he goes, another 135 in tournament.
831. That's very, very fast. And Metallica scoring a 140.213.
Oh no,
Giving
Metallica.
another 2 points advantage for Goofbrush compared to him. We're 2-4.
Yeah, Metallica not happy with what he claims is his first ever death on this tremendous track.
Yeah.
But he didn't say tremendous.
He said, yeah. He said tremendous in his
In
own
Hattij.
words. Words we can't say live. We're not rated like for mature audiences.
Yeah, I'm saying Goof got exactly the same time in warm up. He probably just is playing a recording of him doing that run, so that would explain why. No, I'm joking.
Do you think the tourney staff would allow this to take place? I don't think so.
You can just bring recordings of picks that you think are going to happen and then play them live.
Yeah, but you gotta be very, very, very. I don't know how you could do this and make it look like you're normally and casually playing the game.
Well, I don't really want to speculate on ways to cheat during our winners, our losers finals.
Plus, since we all know a little bit each other, we trust each other. So,
All right, let's catch up here on race 7 ban phase. We saw Metallica temp banning Ben Quadneros, Goofbrush yet again with a Vengeance temp ban, and Metallica taking us to the race 1 pick from last match, the Gauntlet.
and it's gonna be a gauntlet full track, which means no skips here. Paradoxically, gauntlet skips is maybe the first time we saw Zelascalar do skips, since Zelascalar is a full track enthusiast, and it was a real pleasure to race against him because it's also my case.
So it seems like Metallica's strategy in general has been to repeat pretty much every one of his skips, his picks from his last match with Goof, but switching up the pod bands. I like to see that.
Yeah, it's rhyming with different words here, slightly different approach each time.
So it's like if you already exposed a pick to your opponent and your opponent knows it's coming and it has prepared it, that's a way to kind of throw them back off their game and hit them with something that's still, while it's familiar in the aspect of the track and the conditions, the pod choice really can make a lot of difference.
Yeah, given the fact that every pod handles differently from one another, if players didn't get used to it, it can be their weakness for the set track. Goof entering the infamous tube, doing a little Scandi flick to avoid the rocks in here. Metallica doing the same thing.
It looked like about a 145 lap time versus Metallica's. Yeah, wow. It's going to come down to it. All right, I think we're off here into race 7 on the Gauntlet.
Yeah, I guess so. Yeah, off we are. Balmas syncing both streams for us.
Thank you, Balmas.
Here we go. Both players neck and neck.
Goofbrush cutting that terrain nice and short. And he had a little trouble here, but both, getting some nice height there to cut Slow terrain.
Synchronized bouncing. And then...
Ooh, goofbrush tapping out a little early on that boost.
Some monkey boosting for goofbrush. Taking the heat as high as he can.
Yeah, Metallica's gonna end up with a lot more heat to use there.
No players going for the bottom port, and I understand it can be quite tricky to get down here.
I don't
Entering the
blame them.
bowl, exiting the bowl via the tunnel. Yeah, this race. Oh, a little scratch for Goof, I guess.
Yeah, scary bonk there. It gets incredibly tight here in these corridors.
Yeah.
But here's the Uvo tube. Oh, the door just trolling goofbrush there.
Yeah. That infamous tube. So many people crashing it.
That's gotta be disheartening. The door literally snapped into position to defy goof entry there. But yeah, that's going to give Metallica a healthy lead. I think Metallica would have had the lead regardless of that death, just by the way he was being a lot smarter about his heat.
Yeah. Proper heat management can sometimes, well, almost any time, guarantee you to have faster times. It's one of the primordial things any player should focus on before anything else. The heat. Then the lines.
Oh no, you've forgotten not dying.
Yeah. Obviously.
I guess that goes without saying.
Yeah. Maybe not dying is the first step, then heat management, and then the lines, getting them shorter and shorter. But at least for my case, I spent like 6 months trying not to die, and now I'm driving like a kamikaze.
Looks like the tube entry goes well for both this lap.
Yeah, this time everything good. Wow. Still giving us cold sweats. Both players in final lap. I didn't see the time Metallica took to complete that second lap, but I assume it's pretty close to Goof's.
Well, there was a actually, yeah, that was a clean lap 2 for Goof, wasn't it?
Yeah.
But yeah, still ahead by that lap 1 death, that unfortunate Uvo door death.
Yeah, these doors. Changing positions. Sometimes the rectangle is positioned at its largest and sometimes at its narrowest. So you're going to be very, very centered to enter it.
We need a clip of that audio with being soft locked in the rock.
Yeah.
That what's sandwich Hoovy posted. All right, into back half of lap 3, and it's the final Uvo tube to decide. Can Metallica get through cleanly? He does.
He does. So I guess the race is over. Apart from
with a 507
moment, which won't happen.
Every lap got faster.
511.508 and Metallica scoring a 507.978. So it's 3-4 now. Very close match so far. And I love Goof's name on that save. Dune Summoned Skull.
All right. 4-3. Goofbrush's pick.
Let's see where Goofbrush is gonna take us next.
We are, potentially only halfway through the match right now.
Oh yeah, it's already been more than an hour. Time
But
goes fast when you're
it's been more
Podracing.
than an hour, but we still have a lot of racing to go. It takes 7 wins in this best of 13 format.
As Count Dooku would say, this is just the beginning. Good. Twice the pride, double the fall.
Looks like our bans are coming in for race 8. Goofbrush yet again, temp banning Rats Tyrell, Metallica temp banning Doug Derby. And it's gonna be,
I guess, Abyss skips.
all right.
So the pick is gonna be one sandwich. Sorry, one sandwich.
No,
it's a nickname we.
Sandwich. This is the Juan Sandage Senior we're talking about.
But the thing is, now that I know of that weird name we gave him, when I make a sandwich, I say make a one. I wouldn't say you guys having a bad influence, but
Goofbrush currently holds the tournament record here with a 20.027. 20
very,
seconds.
very fast skips.
On this Abyss Skips pick. Very strong here.
Is a 32.337 for that skip. Maybe he took a crash doing it, I don't know. Maybe it's an old time. And we can see Goof jumping back from the other wall this time.
Look how he even accounts for the hop. He does a ping pong sort of between those two walls. And he even factors in the little hop he gets on the landing to like get a head start on the wall climb. That is so cool to watch him pull that off.
It looks very, very, very awesome. You can see him not even touching the ground. Oops. I hope he doesn't do that during the match.
Yeah, I believe it was mentioned in the last match how Goofbrush actually recently set, 11 days ago, he set a new world record on this pick as Bullseye, however.
Yeah, because Bullseye can get a faster time for the third lap. You can go down as fast as 2 seconds something.
It's nice, and they've made it nice and clear for us.
And of they're gonna be.
Here we go, race 8 on Abyss Skips. We are already seeing the results in chat, but let's see what's happening live here.
I won't click on the spoilers.
Gets a little hop there, and he finishes it out with a 20.88. Look at that. Oh, Metallica just barely behind.
And a 21.281.
That was so close. We'll have to sync that up in post, how close that was.
Yeah. That would be interesting. I know Goof is used to make some mosaics of different runs. We could do a mosaic of different Abyss Skips runs to see how close every player can be on that track.
We'll just overlay them all in one layer and at different opacities so you can see.
Oh,
just
that's another idea, yeah. That's another idea. It would look a little bit more psychedelic than it
instead
should,
of a mosaic, it's more of like a casserole of runs.
Yeah.
or a lasagna.
A Skips casserole. Skips lasagna. It's gonna be 50 shades of Skips. Okay, so let's see what's it gonna be for the next race, which will be race 9. Ban phase is beginning, and what's Metallica gonna ban?
Metallica has 1 force point, and he still has his run back. Though
Yeah,
I'm not sure
still
if
a
he
run back.
would run back Zugga skips. That would be really
That would be,
hype, though.
yeah, that would be nuts
But I
if
don't
he
know if
did.
I'd want to use my last force point on that. Metallica taking us off of Ben once again.
Yeah, once again, maybe it's gonna be off meta. I don't know why, but I'm like smelling the run back coming. I don't know. Goofbrush, Tem banning vengeance.
Where's he taking us?
What's it gonna be? The suspense.
He really needs a solid pick here to maintain this 2 point difference. And it's Beto's Wild Ride.
Yeah, definitely one of my least favorite tracks of the moment. But I'm planning on reconciling with it, and I know it's gonna be hard because the first tunnel you gotta take is quite tricky, and then you can use the tent strat, but the exit is very tricky too. You almost gotta boost straight into the wall to exit it. So what we are gonna see is gonna be high risks once again.
Goof.
Oh my flexible goodness, no ban, he says.
He's probably getting tired of these no Ben picks. It's really getting on. It's getting to him.
Yeah, I guess so.
That's what my brain feels like.
Yeah.
All right, this is our official start into race 9 on Beatles Wild Ride. No Ben.
And it's already looking like, yeah.
Both racers avoid that early death that a lot of
Yeah,
runners might run into.
they don't go for the boost hold, which is a wise choice because that boost hold can get you very inconsistent, but it's worth it for individual levels speedruns where you
This
get the
is
opportunity to restart as much as you want, and it would be worth for quals as well.
this is looking neck and neck here.
Yeah,
Both
very close.
taking pretty much the exact same lines through that entire lap 1, and both ignoring the tents
Going
there.
for the non-tent strat, taking that tunnel again, avoiding the boost hold. Oh, little bonk for Metallica,
Yeah,
but it's
I
not too bad.
don't know if Goof.
Maybe Metallica has a very, very slight lead. I don't know.
We saw a little difference in boost timings there, but everything evens out right here.
Both players very high heat. Going for that section.
Goofbrush is just a sliver of
Taking,
a second ahead right now.
yeah, the optimal lines are doing the job. No tent for lap 3 either. Woo.
Things are so dicey into this lap 3.
Yeah.
This is Metallica's pick. So this could spell another difference, and it could add to Goofbrush's point lead if he manages to clench this out. Still just barely ahead, though. It all comes down to these ruins here. Looking a little shaky there. What's it
Yeah.
gonna be?
It's very, very, very close.
Oh, it's Goof by a hair.
Yeah, it's a 244.304 for Goof and a .550 for Metallica, which
Incredible.
secures a sixth win for Goofbrush. Both players have 3 points difference now.
Goof in
Yeah,
chat
I saw
is
it.
in the
Stab the
tiniest
keyboard.
font. He says, "I did prep this."
Yes. Yes, he
as
did.
if whispering, as if whispering after stabbing Metallica in the heart,
Can you
beating
feel
him,
it?
beating him by just a hair, rubbing it in. Metallica saying, "Bro, didn't you want to forfeit? Just lose on purpose already."
Metallica fights back. It's gonna be a verbal joust as well. That's very interesting. It's match point for Goofbrush here.
It is
Apparently,
indeed.
it's the first to 7 who wins. So very precarious position for Metallica, but anything is still possible by this point. It's not over yet. Metallica 10 banning Mossgrow, Goofbrush 10 banning Vengeance again.
He still has one force point and run back to
Yeah,
use, but he's got to win 4 races in a
so
row.
let's see. What is Metallica gonna do?
No
Metallica
pressure.
still having run back as well. Does that mean we're gonna see
Inferno skips.
Lucas? I don't know.
Metallica doesn't even want to choose.
Yeah. Trying to get on Goofbrush's nerves. I don't know.
Goof is like, Inferno skips no Mars, huh?
They are so funny to read. It'll
Please.
yeah.
No way, bro. Metallica says.
Metallica says he's got another option, but he's not very good at it, though.
What would that be?
I don't know. Keeping us on hot rocks here. Hot coals.
Goof
Goofbrush
guessing.
asking for Baru with extra bands.
But it's almost like Goof is helping Metallica brainstorm for a pick here.
Yeah, but Metallica definitely knows what it means for him to this point.
Yeah.
He doesn't have the right to do any mistakes anymore. Come on, guys. Make a decision.
Okay, looks like we're allowing him to take back the Mars ban. Metallica
You
not even
don't
sure.
want to ban another racer than Mars Go. Just bet heavily on Sebulba.
Goof offering to pick the best option.
Unbiased, he says. And Metallica saying God and Ace answering, "Don't drag me into this." Very humble from Ace. Goofbrush questioning Ace.
It seems we've arrived at a at a point where Metallica is praying to any deity
This is all too funny.
for a pick here. Okay, he's committed to the Marsquo. The sign Ace has given Metallica is simply stop. Okay, here it is. Marsquo ban on Inferno skips is
You
our
could
pick.
as well have shown a road closed sign, but this stop sign coming forward in the GIF is just too funny. I love that kind of humor. Okay, so we are going for Inferno skips, but who has been banned as a racer? I
No
don't
Mars.
know. Yeah, apparently Mars won't.
Neva Key on Goofbrush's screen. Look at that.
Yeah, that's interesting.
Yeah, I wonder how that's gonna work out
Yeah,
with
it's
this
gonna be
climb
tricky.
right there. Yeah, he gets it just fine.
It's working, but and for
And
Metallica, it's a bullseye.
interesting.
Yeah, very very interesting. Oh, bullseye seems to be more suited for this exercise.
Yeah,
So
you saw though Metallica is taking things a little too sharply and missing the trigger for the lap to count there.
yeah, a little bit hasty here.
So yeah, I mean Metallica is really strong on this skips pick, especially with
Definitely very.
Mars, who's the default pick, but these sort of miscellaneous pod picks are really interesting to see on every pick here.
One thing I have to note is since we get Goofbrush Zodio, we can hear the wonderful voice of Neva Key.
Shoutouts to I
Oh,
believe Peter Lorre is the voice actor for Neva Key.
I
Shoutouts to
don't
that
wanna.
guy for ripping his vocal cords apart to play
Yeah,
the demanding role of Neva Key.
no offense to him, but he did a pretty good job at making that little Xamster sound as annoying as possible, reminding us of the little creature that chose to take refuge in Jabba the Hutt's tail. We can see
I
it in episode 6.
I don't know if that's pitched up yet, actually.
It could be, and I guess if I want to work on that infamous sound pack, I'm gonna have to pitch my voice up to do it, as well as for Bullseye and Dan, and it's gonna be very funny.
Uh, now that I'm listening to it over and over, I don't know. we see a lengthy pause here to indicate the official start of race
Yes,
10, Inferno
and
Skips.
of they are.
Oh, Goofbrush doesn't quite make it over.
Ooh!
Metallica does into lap 2, and he gets it to count. Goofbrush finally catching up, and oh no, what's going on?
That's very, very tricky.
I don't think Metallica got that lap to count. He has to
Ooh,
redo lap 2. There he goes.
yeah.
And he's into lap 3 now with double red front engines. Can he clear it? He can't.
Oh,
He's got to reset. Goofbrush, does he clear it? He does, and he takes the win. It's all down to that. Holy crap, what a final.
yeah. With a 36.819, Goofbrush taking the Oi Panagoya! And Metallica just behind with a 37.746. Wow, what a match.
It all
What
came down
a match.
to a blink and you miss it skips pick with several twists. That was such
Yeah,
a turn of events at every lap.
yeah. Almost at every second of the race. What a finish. Whew.
Truly an Oipa Nagoya for the ages.
Yeah, definitely.
All right, welcome runners and GG's.
GG.
GG's to you. That was
That
an
was-
incredible race.
That was an epic finish there on Inferno Skips.
Yeah, I bet that looked so goofy.
Yeah.
Pun intended.
And I've
True.
got a question for you, Goof. Why Neva Key for Let's Skips? What made you think it was the best choice, and you proved it.
He's pretty good. I think he's like the same as Bullseye. They're both pretty good. I like his acceleration and handles the ceiling kind of weird, but you can usually get across to the other side.
Yeah, as we could see, it was and I didn't see that pick very often, but you pulled it off brilliantly.
I think it was a pick of mine before, but I haven't played it in a while.
So it seemed this match, Metallica, your strategy was sort of to redo a lot of the picks from the last match you guys shared and sort of switch up the pod bands.
Yeah, I was, for example, that Saga challenge. I figured, he might expect that I would go Saga challenge skips, but so he would practice it with Ben. So I was gonna surprise him and go with balls instead, for example, things like that.
But Goof,
Yeah.
for some reason, decided to prepare that.
Yeah.
Well,
That's wild. That was such a early leg up for you in the match.
I fully expected I lost that, but I guess it went kind of south for both of us.
Yeah, Metallica
Yeah.
definitely. It looked like you were missing that tube skip.
Yeah, the
on
first
laps 2 and
skip,
3.
I missed it on laps 2 and 3. I didn't go for the second skip though. Technically it's possible, but it's really difficult.
Yeah, I thought like Bowles is okay at the second skip. I much prefer him over Mars. Mars, you have to do like a really weird setup.
Didn't you get lap 1, Goof? You got the first into second skip there.
Yeah,
that-
it was really
that's-
jank.
Wow.
Like
But it-
I was trying to like boost off of it, and then I couldn't get the boost off, so I nosed up just in time, and then I could make it.
Yeah, it was definitely a very, very tight spot here. Very impressive to watch. You gave us a great moment here. But we could
Yeah.
see the difference of time gain with these skips, as Metallica pulled off the third skip on that first lap and caught up with you very quickly. You were like neck and neck on lap 2.
Yeah, everything evened
Yeah.
out until lap 2.
Yeah, because I missed the third skip, which I think is the biggest by far.
A lot of unfortunate moments during that match as well.
Me, yeah.
I
It's
wouldn't
actually
give you
kind of-
flashbacks through because I know it's
Yeah, it's actually this match has been smoother than most. I did die 7 times though, so it's like still kind of bad.
Yeah, half on Ando Prime Centrum and then half on what was
yeah,
it?
Yeah. Fire Mountain.
it was
Fire Mountain Rally.
yeah. FMR is definitely a tough track.
Unfortunately, I don't have 4 bands, but yeah, I was preparing Fire Mountain. I was like, there's no way he bans the rat, does he? And then he bans the rat.
Yeah, that pick actually, Yam recommended it to me last year after I eliminated him, and I started
Yeah.
practicing it, but it was too difficult, So I've been sort of practicing it on and off since then until now, and only now I finally feel confident enough to pull it out.
Did you go Mahonic?
I went Mars.
Yeah. I went Mahonic, but I should have gone Mars because even though he's really wide and it's Fire Mountain, I think I could just kind of use him off the cuff a lot more than I can with Mahonic. So
Yeah,
it's
that's
probably a poor choice.
that's what we said on commentary, sort of. That Mars has maybe a slight better traction than Mahonic, granting you the possibility to steer a little bit better on these sharp turns.
And well, the final pick on the last match you guys had, the winners semis, right?
Mm.
It came down to Brew Coast and Metallica actually baiting you into a Mars pick. So was that sort of the similar strategy? Like, was it a bait to get Goof on Mahonic and then you take Mars?
Well, actually, I didn't really know what Goof would pick. I was just hoping that, since I've been picking this track with Niva Key recently, Goof would just not expect me to ban. So I didn't really think about their pot choice after that.
Yeah, it was a really good pick. I just forfeited and go next.
Yeah, probably the strongest pick of the match next to the APC skips. That was definitely some trouble for you there, Goof. On just the consistency of that skip, I guess.
Yeah, I did prepare that, but I died instantly at the start, which threw me off.
Yeah, that was it.
Yeah, also this skip is kind of annoying.
I was actually kind of worried there because in one of the matches that King Bindi played and you were like a commentator, I remember you mentioned it, that you practiced this one specifically because of King Bindi, so I was less confident in this one than in Saga Challenge.
Yeah. Well, the reason you kind of all of your picks I've somehow managed to prepare for. Like I also prepared bowls on Betos.
Yeah.
Because I kind of expected a Betos pick, and then I know you like to go off meta, so it's kind of the natural choice. But also, I expected you to go Zugga, Zugga skips, APC skips. But also, the one prediction that I got wrong was I expected you to go for Bumpy's Breakers skip.
Actually, I did intend to go on that one.
Yeah, that's why I didn't really want to do the full track, but I only picked it just to kind of waste your run back if you did actually want to go there.
Yeah, I did want to go there, but that skip is just really weird. It's one of those skips where you can get it perfectly a bunch of times, and then all of a sudden you just start failing it every time, so I wasn't so sure about it.
Yeah, definitely. Also, you did a gauntlet full track. I definitely expected skips. I was preparing that as well.
That Uvo door death was so it trolled you so hard on that death.
Yeah, definitely. It's kind of my fault because I wasn't like completely center, and the doors tend to do that.
That boon to training course was so unfortunate for Metallica as well.
Well, I would have lost anyways, but yeah, I learned how to do the newer route for this track only this year, but I guess I'm still not consistent enough with it, so I died to the giant invisible rock.
Yeah, it's unfortunate. But Bunted training course and Abyss skips are probably my two most consistent picks.
That Abyss skips really came down to the wire. It was just a hair of a difference there.
Yeah.
But it was really nice to see your method, the sort of did you guys both ping pong between the two walls? Okay.
You copying my tournament strats. The hell?
Been copying it since last year, but last year I think I actually wasn't good enough to pull it off, so I stopped doing it. But since it was kind of obvious that you would pick this, probably I decided to practice your method.
It's a really good method, actually. It's like
Yeah.
consistently low 20s, and you can get like 18s. But I didn't practice this Abyss skip at all today, and I was kind of worried about you picking Abyss full track. So this was also a pick to kind of take that away.
So it seemed like at the very end of this last pick for Metallica, it seemed like you were kind of struggling to come up with a pick. What was the other? You said, what was it specifically? You said.
Yeah, I said I couldn't choose between a few options. Well, I was thinking of just not using the force at all and doing some other track with bolts. I was also thinking of that Bumpy's Breaker skips, since I had sort of prepared it, but I wasn't so sure. I was also thinking maybe redoing Abyss skips but without one, but I actually didn't practice that one. I just sort of came up with it in the middle of the match, so I decided to just go with Inferno.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Old reliable. Old unreliable. Sorry.
Yeah. Well, last
Is it-
time I think me and goofbrush did this as well in a previous year.
Yeah.
And that time I won with Bullseye, but I knew it was like really sketchy, like it could go either way.
Kind of poetic
Yeah.
justice for Goof to win it on that pick specifically. And now that you mentioned how it went last time.
Yeah.
Yeah, we talked about it during the races. We said like it was like rhyming, considering what your matches have been previously in terms of track choices. So
Yeah. I'm sad I'm not gonna be able to do Executioner skip all this year.
Ever.
So sad.
yeah,
I was
maybe next time.
I was really hoping you would like see my match history and then you're like, oh, he probably expects me to ban Executioner, so I won't this time.
See,
Yeah.
I thought about that actually. I thought about it, but there was always the chance that you would just pick it instantly. And even though I practiced it a bit, looking at how you've done it before, there's like no way I would beat you.
Yeah. It's really fun. You should not ban it sometime.
We can redo the match if you want, and with no execution ban.
Oh, sure.
So, Goof, you were joking that you should forfeit because of is that fear of refacing Mikey, or are you looking forward to the rematch?
It was kind of a half joke. I won't, just for the integrity of the tournament, but I do think Metallica probably has a better chance of beating Mike than I do. Just because I think Metallica and Mike are both quite similar in playstyle. But Mike's maybe 20% faster with the same consistency. So if you look at all of our times this match, if it was Mike playing instead, I would be sitting here with 0 points.
Oh wow!
So that's kind
Don't
of how
say
I
that.
feel.
You could win some on your last match. It wasn't a crush match, and I hope it won't be for these finals.
Yeah,
I want
maybe.
to see you win a couple tracks.
More than 3,
Yeah, you
Which I
definitely
think
can.
definitely in the
I'll
cards.
try.
But yeah, I'm sure everyone is eager to that rematch. I mean, this rematch was a hell of a match with the final score being 7-3, but Metallica putting up a hell of a fight and delivering some really close races, and really just coming down to the breaking point of picks, really, between the two of you guys. Both playing to your own strengths and the strengths of the rule set, and really just delivering some excellent sportsmanship and really high level play. So thank you both for a really great match.
Yeah, that was
thanks,
awesome.
Metallica, for the good match. I think Metallica, you're probably the person I've faced the most in tournament. Probably
Yeah, maybe.
This is the 4th match between you guys, I think.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
have faced Mike 4 times as well. I'm not sure if I've faced anyone else more than 4 times.
Yeah, I don't think we've seen that many matches between two people in tournament take place so far.
Because we faced in the AMC tournament, and then we faced.
Yeah.
Didn't we face 2 times last year? Or was it? Maybe it was 2. I can't remember if we faced twice in the bracket and once in the group stage.
Yeah, exactly. And the group stage, and then again in my final match, I think.
Right.
Yes.
Yeah.
Correct.
So you are the person I faced the most then.
Yeah, with 4 matches. Or excuse me, this does that make this the 5th then?
I think
Yeah,
so.
I think
if you
so.
count the
Yeah.
AMC.
Okay, yeah. Yeah, sorry, I
Yeah,
was mistaken before. This is the 5th match.
But like my total matches is like 12, so you're like nearly 50%.
Yeah, I don't know what else there is to say, but that last race was just such a... there was a twist on every lap. Like, that's how crazy it was.
Yeah. I almost failed like everything so many times.
But,
Like I think I dropped down into the lava twice, but I was able to like get over, and then like I reversed a bit, and then I fell down.
yeah.
That's
And then on Metallica's end, there was it looked like a missed lap 2.
Yeah, I missed lap 2, and then on lap 3 I hit the ceiling. I couldn't get enough height early.
You had
so I had to redo
double.
it.
Both the fronts of your engines were completely red and flashing.
It's great. Yeah, I think we get kind of what's the word, like we get treated well when we use Mars, just because he can get so much height from that wall, but everyone else just gets no height at all, and then you crash into the ceiling.
Yeah, he spoils you with his jumping ability.
I think sometimes like we can kind of pick off meta just to pick off meta, but like if you're really good at something on meta, there's kind of maybe not so much of a point to go off meta, because like I think you would have beat me with Mars quite easily, and it's kind of what I found out a bit during the tournament, is that like I'm usually better if I just stick with like what I'm best at instead of going off meta. But
I'm not so sure about that for Inferno, because for example on my match versus Hellfire, I got it right a million times in practice, and then the real match began and I started getting everything wrong. So
Oh
that's
yeah, I
that's
remember.
why, that's why I kind of fear picking Inferno in general, because I feel like it's not actually that certain that I will win.
Yeah, it's definitely, yeah. I mean, it's like a balance between meta and off meta. Sometimes you pick off meta, you spend all this time picking this really weird pick, and then like it just goes wrong, and then you're like, why don't I just use Mars, or why don't I just use Ben?
I think it's time to wrap things up here. But that's going to place Metallica in 3rd place overall for our 2023 championship. I believe this is your first ever podium finish.
Yeah, unless one of those smaller tournaments, maybe the AMC tournament, maybe I got like 3rd as well. I can't remember.
Yeah,
that's definitely a possibility. But as far as annual tournaments are
exactly.
concerned,
As far as annual tournament, this is the first time.
and with this turnout and competition this year, that is quite the feat.
Yeah, you had a really impressive showing this year, honestly.
Yeah, I'm pretty happy with the final result. I expected to get eliminated like 2 or 3 matches ago, pretty much. I wasn't even sure if I would beat Homura at the beginning, so I'm pretty happy.
Yeah, you definitely can be very proud of your performance in this tournament this year, given the competition you had to face.
You also beat Hellfire, who beat Ace, so you basically beat Ace.
Yeah, that's not negligible.
Yeah, is that the transitive property?
And I guess if I beat you, who beat Hellfire, who beat Ace, then I also beat Ace.
Exactly.
I
don't know what Ace thinks about it. Let us know. Discord, mate.
Probably molding.
Yeah.
Well, hopefully
uh,
he competes next year.
yeah, sober. We'll see.
yeah.
We'll see. We'll see Goofbrush move on into the winners finals to face the masterful Mikey Burger to see what happens if we get actually that is, sorry, did I say winners finals? I mean grand finals, right?
Grand finals. Yeah.
Yes.
The main event.
The main event, Goofbrush versus Mikey Burger. So we'll see that probably in like 2 months' time. No, I'm just joking. But that is usually the case. So hopefully you guys can get that scheduled, and I wish you the best of luck, Goofbrush, in that match.
Thanks,
Yeah,
thanks.
best of luck, Goofbrush.
But I believe that's going to do it for us, unless there are any further comments.
No, just good games. Metallica.
GG's.
Good games to both of you. That was an incredible match again. Thank you guys for that display of Podracing.
Yeah, so that's going to be it for us. Thank you to Speed Gaming. Thank you to everyone in chat for sticking around for this lengthy match, and clearing out your schedule to witness the rematch of the century here. And be sure to join the Discord and get the tournament updates roll to not miss the grand final. No one wants to miss that. And we will see you guys in the next one.
Yeah.
Thank you to Lightning Pirate for being a great commentator to commentate alongside. Thanks to y'all in the public. Thanks to Goofbrush, Metallica. Thanks to the Speed Gaming channel. And I hope to see you soon.
And thanks, Balmus, for tracking this one as well.
Yeah! Thanks, Balmus. You did an amazing job.
Yeah, that was super helpful. Thank you. All right, later. May the force be
Bye.
with you.
May the force be with you guys.